Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Prince Donnell here, your internet agent, and I'm back again with another segment, another series to be able to help you as an agent go from being stuck to momentum and success, or to just help tweak your processes a little bit so you can become even better than what you were yesterday. And for those who are new here to this video series, I create a ton of these videos with other successful agents who are doing this either full time, who have momentum in their practices, and to be able to help you by sharing their stories. So with that being said, I had the privilege to introduce an amazing woman. And the reason why I say amazing woman is because every time that I get women onto this segment, I find it to be amazing because women represent less than 5% of the actual financial services marketplace. And then with even being less than 5%, probably only 1% who are actually successful at this. So when I have the ability to have conversations with women, I find it always to be amazing to be able to promote more women. If you're a woman watching this, promoting you to say, I can do this too, because she did it. And this woman that y'all are going to hear from today, met her probably a few months back. I want to say maybe three or so months ago. I actually remember getting on the actual Zoom call that she had before being onboarded into our Jack Life Leads community. And I will tell you that I specifically remember her asking a lot of detailed questions about the leads, about the process and how everything works. And I even said to her on the call, you're one of the first people who asked me these type of questions that were pretty deep. So I knew that she was very thorough at what she did. And from there, she had got started right away. And from that point, man, she's crushed it. I mean, she's probably like one of the top sellers of inside of our Jack Life Leads community. She's really good at what she does. She knows how to close. She knows how to get referrals. She knows how to structure policies the right way. And some would say that she makes it look very easy. But I think that when you hear her story, you'll find that it's a lot of skill set and a lot of development and experience that led up to this place of where she is today. And she invests a lot of money into herself and into her business. And it's why she's where she is. And I want y'all to be able to hear from her. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ms. Valerie Taylor to the line. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Donnell. Thank you for the intro. And hey, what do they say? Lots of questions mean you're interested in buying, right?
That's exactly what it means. So I'm always excited when individuals ask questions. And I want to hop right into it. I like to start off this first question by going into the reason why you got into the financial services industry, and specifically in the life insurance space. I like to start off by sharing my story a little bit. For those who are new here that are agents watching this your first time, I've been licensed since I was 18 years old. I'm 28 years old today. I don't know when you're watching this, but today is March 2nd, 2023. If you're watching this 5 years from now, just add 5 years to the age today. But I got started when I was 18. I went to TD Bank, and TD Bank got me licensed. I was selling annuities and IULs. And then from that point, I decided to move over to Wells Fargo. And then I ultimately launched my own agency called Jack Life Insurance. And the reason why I came into this industry is because I grew up in the inner city of Philadelphia, and I saw so many people, from neighbors to from friends and et cetera, who passed away. And there were GoFundMes and having to raise money in order to just bury their loved ones. And I saw the turmoil that came from it. And partially it was because of the fact that inside the inner city communities, specifically in Philadelphia, and there's not a lot of education around generational wealth and life insurance, and why these type of tools are important or why they're valuable. And those conversations aren't being had in the household. So I said I wanted to get licensed, so I had the ability to be able to help individuals in my community. And then it turned into helping people all across the country. So that's why I got it. And the question I have for you, Valerie, is what was that thing for you that made you transition over into this life insurance space? What was that why?
Yeah, so I actually got started back in October of 2021. I got licensed. I knew nothing about life insurance other than, it's something that you get or your family gets when you pass away. I was not in the financial services space, but I was very much in corporate America, actually trying to climb my way up in project management specifically. And I had actually just got a big raise in my salary. So I was, at that 6-figure mark, actually above 6 figures. I was, working a new job. I got the title that I was, trying to get. And in the new job that I started, my manager was actually away on vacation my first 2 weeks on the job. I had just had a baby that previous June, so I had a newborn at home. I was completely stressed out because there was lack of training, didn't have my manager around, new baby at home, not getting sleep. And literally my husband probably saw me in tears maybe like 4 times during, my first month on the job. And he was just like, no, like this isn't gonna work. And luckily, a family friend of ours, a neighbor to his mom, had reached out to us like months before and said, hey, you should really consider life insurance. And at the time, I was studying for my project management certification. I was pregnant. I was like, no, this is not the time. Don't want to do it. But then when this was going on with the new job, we were like, okay, maybe this is the time to, really give it a shot. I mean, take control of, your future and, don't wait for something bad to happen, take action. So I fired my boss and got my insurance license. Actually, while I was putting in my 2 weeks, I was studying for the exam to take my
That's
license.
cool.
Yep. And then I passed the exam. My upline actually came down and, helped train me up and everything. And it was great. But I mean, both of us, we've had experience with life insurance, personally. So my husband lost his father when he was only 3 years old. Thankfully, they had some life insurance. Obviously, it doesn't replace, dad or, everything, that they had before, but it definitely was a help to him. He saw the benefit. It helped, get him his first car. It helped him, with college. And then I lost my stepfather to cancer in 2019. And, just watching my mom with, what she went through, it's a lot of paperwork and, admin stuff that you do when you lose someone. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I can help other families, just by being the one that they can call when it's time to, file a death claim, that takes one thing off their plate. And so for me, that was, really the driving factor, just knowing that, okay, I can do this to help families, it's something that people need that people don't have.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so you're full time
Oh
right
yeah, I'm
now,
full
HCM.
time.
Man,
Well, as much as
that
you
is
can be with, 2 kids and everything. But
yeah,
yeah, full time.
that's awesome. And if you're an agent right now listening to this, I think that alone, that story, that says a lot about the fact that the belief that you got to have in yourself in order to go full throttle, right? Like she moved away from corporate America at the 6-figure job and said, hey, I'm going into the life insurance space. And she had no idea if this were actually going to work or not. I mean, she was placing a bet on herself, a really huge one, and said, man, I think that I could do this. And that's not to say that that works out for everybody, obviously. So I'm not sitting here telling you that that it's best for you to just walk away from your job right now and go into life insurance, because I would say for 90% of people, it may not be the best scenario. But for the small percentage who do have those skill sets that she already possessed in corporate America, and I want y'all like just kind of bring it back to me a little bit. You noticed she talks about the fact that she already had experience from corporate America already in project management, in being organized, and already being in an environment where she had to produce results. So that transition over into full-time life insurance agency owner, which is basically entrepreneurship, I wouldn't say it was that challenging because she possessed the skill sets already at a high level before she moved. Now, if you don't possess those particular skill sets of organization and leadership and all of that, then maybe it is best for you to stay where you are, job-wise, while you're building your life insurance practice, so you can learn the necessary skill sets to be able to get to that place. So it's all about patience, but that's awesome story-wise, and it speaks to the fact that sometimes your old environment prepares you for the new one, which I think is cool. And that brings me to my next part, which we're having a conversation on in skill sets, right? So what would you say, Valerie, are the key skill sets that you had to learn in order to really push momentum for your insurance agency? Because I find that agents come into this industry sometimes and they have the wrong expectations because they hear that agents are making 100,000, 200,000, 3, 4, 500. A lot of times they don't know the ins and outs of what's actually required to do that and how much it costs in order to make that kind of money. So what skill sets would you say that you've learned, like maybe one or two that you could give? You could say, if you learn these as an agent and you practice this, man, magic is going to happen for you.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to be someone that's personable for one. I mean, you're talking to, real people, about personal situations, right? A lot of their personal information, and they have to trust you. So if they don't trust you, they're not going to do business with you. So I'd say for one, you have to be someone who's personable, you're willing to listen, and you do have to be patient. In this business, because a lot of the times when you are personable, you get people talking and, they're telling their story and you actually have to, to sit there and listen to it and understand that it could take time. Luckily, I came from a sales background. I've been in sales like since high school. So that, kind of came naturally for me. But what I will say is, prior to getting involved with the Jack Life community, I was doing in-home sales. So that was a very different avenue for me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, being in the home. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier, but it's different, right? Because you have more to go off of when you're in the home versus when you're on the phone and you're an internet agent. You've got to build that rapport in like 2 seconds before they hang up the phone on you. So something that I learned along the way were the 3 C's, right? So compliment, comedy, and commonality. That's like the 3 quickest ways to make a friend. And it's things that people probably already do and don't realize it. But when you compliment someone, that drops a guard down for them, right? Everyone loves to be complimented. Who doesn't want to receive a compliment? And then if you can make them laugh, it's like, okay, this person, they relax a little bit. This person's funny. Okay, I can laugh with them. And then commonality. People want to do business with people that they have something in common with, that they agree with. So definitely something that helped me.
Extremely valuable. The 3 C's. And if you're an agent, I really think you should take those, right? Because that alone talks about how the structure of a phone conversation should be, or just a conversation in general, whether you're doing in-house door knocking or even specifically telesales. I would say leaning into that, those 3 C's are extremely key. And it's 2 things that I learned here, Valerie, about you that I want agents that are watching this to understand. Number one, she said that she had a background in sales experience for a really long time. So I think it's important to note that a large part of her success today comes from the experience that she's had in the past. And I got to keep saying this because if you're an agent, remember, getting to that next stage, it's not necessarily the leads, it's not necessarily your upline, it's not necessarily the organization. And make no mistake, I think those play a big part in your success too. But a large part of that comes in the experience that you have, and the skill sets that you possess that you're bringing to the industry to be able to talk to these clients. And if you don't possess the skill sets or the experience, you're gonna have to work 2 to 3 times as hard to get that experience in a shorter period of time so you can start seeing the success that you're looking for. But if you don't have necessarily sales experience like Valerie did, or the project management experience like she did, or things of that nature, then I don't compare yourself to her. Just realize that you have to learn those necessary skill sets and focus on those 3 C's, which is key. And I'm gonna tell you guys something that's also valuable. I remember being on a Zoom call. We were having a community Zoom call where I was training a couple of agents on what does their phone call sound like when they're actually getting on the phone, because we do all telesales. I think that's the fastest way to be able to get to success, much faster than in-home or door knocking, statistically, all across the board. And I remember Valerie came up, and I don't know if you remember this, Valerie, but you came up and you said, "Hey, Don, I want to be able to share my sales script live in front of everybody." And one of the things that, and she only did it one time, and I said, "You're good, get out of here." And what I found is, and this is key if you're an agent, take away, number one, her tonality is awesome, right? She has phenomenal tonality. What is tonality? That is a certain way that you're saying things so that the prospect on the other side of the line knows that you're the expert. So when she's on the phone, you can tell that she, number one, meant to call you. She definitely meant to call you based off of how she's speaking on the line. She uses certain verbiage to know that hey, I meant to call you. This isn't an accident. And her tonality shows that she's the expert. And prospects want to do business with experts. And when I heard her call, that told me all I needed to know as to why she is someone who closes more deals than others, is because individuals like herself are like, hey, I'm the expert here in the line. And others are like, hey, I'm wondering if you're interested in insurance. And she's never said that on the line. So I think that it's important to know that as an agent, expertise is important. And if you heard that from her, really take that away. And Valerie, this kind of leads us into our next piece, which is about mindset, right? So we talked about the why, we talked about the skills, and now here on the mindset side, could you think about a time where you were pretty much, you went full time in this thing? Can you think about a time where you were stuck in your insurance practice at that moment where you're like, I'm trying all of these things, it's not necessarily working for me? And in that time where you were stuck, could you share or provide some type of advice for agents on what type of mindset that you needed to have to get out of that stuck place over to success? Because I've been there before, and I've had times where my chargebacks were higher than my commissions that were coming in. And I worked really hard. And I'm like, man, I'm stuck right now. I don't know what to do, but I'm still spending a whole lot of money. What's that mindset that you needed to possess to switch over from that stuck period over to where you are today and continuing to build from there?
Yeah, I would say the whole first year in business is that stuck period, right? It's hard, going into business for yourself, one, and then being in insurance and, that whole network marketing industry. It's hard. Like that first year, you really have to have thick skin and know that, the profit will come, but you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm a very, very, I don't want to say frugal person, but when it comes to like money, I'm careful where I put my money. And so that was probably the biggest thing getting in my way, where I wasn't investing in my business the way I should have been, like my first year. But I think once I, kind of started putting myself around, the other people that are in the industry, making the money and seeing what they are doing, much like yourself, and, hearing you say, put that credit card on your forehead, that really helped me to see like, okay, if I invest in myself, invest in my business, I know that I can do this. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to, 5X, 10X this thing. Like it should happen. It's a numbers game. Everything about this is a numbers game.
That's all it is.
Right.
That's all it is. And I'm glad that you brought that point up, because I think a lot of times as agents, we don't see ourselves as business owners, right? Like you see yourself as somebody who just has a license and you're like, okay, cool, I'm just going to sell insurance, but that's not how it works, right? It works just like a business. And I want you to think about, if you're an agent listening to this, listen to what Valerie said. Think about yourself as you just got your license, but you just opened a business, right? Your doors are open. You got to get customers in the door, and you have to figure out how to consistently get, not customers, prospects. You have to figure out how to consistently get prospects in the door who are interested in insurance. And then you got to figure out how to take those prospects who walked in the door and convert them over into clients, right? Actually getting them protected for coverage, and then you earn commission. That's the entire goal of what we do here. But what I find is that a lot of agents are like, and when I ask them, hey, what are you doing in investing in your business to be able to get more prospects? And I'm not doing anything. I'm just kind of doing my warm market and referrals. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when an agent says, hey, I'm trying to make $1 million, and I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to make $1 million if you're going to do referrals and warm market. That's going to take you about 20 years to do. Every business in the world has a way to be able to produce prospects. As an example, at the highest point of my agency, we were spending anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a day just on advertisement to be able to produce more and more leads of prospects that we could talk to interested in insurance. Because to me, if I could spend the $5,000 per day, but it produces even $7,500, $8,000 a day, I still generated 3,000. And if I do that 5 days a week, that's 15,000. And then if I do that over the course of 4 weeks, that's 60,000. I'm on my way to $100,000 on a monthly basis. So like you said, Valerie, it's all numbers. And as an agent, you do have to invest in yourself. And one of the things that I say is your invoice is connected to your income. You know, how the more you spend, the more you earn. There's no connection to just not spending any money and then just expecting to earn $100,000 or plus. It just doesn't work that way. And really connected that as an agent. And that brings me to my next point, Valerie, which now that we're talking about the spending of money and investing in your business, there's I found that there's a divide right now in the insurance marketplace where you have 50% of agents who are like, hey, I work warm market and referrals only. And that's where I see my success. And make no mistake, I know a lot of agents who see success through warm market and referrals. I know not a lot. I know a small percentage who do. And then you have the other 50% of the market that's like, hey, I invest in my business. I buy leads and I drive business in that manner. And for that agent right now who's struggling to try to figure out, do I do warm market referrals like I've been told with my agency, or do I go into investing into leads and everything of that nature? Which route do I take here? And which one is more effective, or, you know, is it both? And from your experience, Valerie, up until today, what advice would you give to that agent who's looking for that answer based off of how you've been able to scale your agency?
Yeah, so for me, it was very much, kind of doing both and seeing what worked, and then you go with what works. Because as I mentioned before, I was doing in-home, right, where I was nowhere near as effective and as efficient as I am now, right? I'm like driving 30 to 40 minutes across Georgia to get to an appointment where I don't even know for sure or not if the person's going to show up or if they're going to get approved. And then I got to spend another 40 minutes getting back home. Whereas I'm doing, the internet agents, and it's like, okay, just got to pick up the phone. If they're not there, okay, so what? Move on, right? It's so much quicker, more effective. So for my first month in the Jack Life community, I was actually doing both because I was winding down with the in-home sales. I still had a few clients and a few leads that, came in from that source, but then I was getting my Jack leads too. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to work both and see. And it just so happened that I was able to, more than double what I was making, with the Jack Life leads. I mean, in the short 2 months the full 2 months that I've had with the Jack Life leads, I mean, I've been able to do over, 57,000 in AP compared to my best month with, my previous source. It was, not even half that. I think it was like about 10K might have been, or 15K was my best month. And then probably the average is about 10 AP. So.
That's beautiful. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy for you. That is like awesome, because I got to be honest. I mean, outside of us being a community and a lead vendor, I think the biggest reason why this was even started was to just provide agents and agency owners with just a better system that says, hey, like, we could use a newer way. We don't got to knock on doors. We can have a more efficient, a faster, a seamless way. And we got to keep up with the times, right? And where we are. Everybody's using the internet. Everybody's using their phones. Everybody's texting, right? And if we can tap into that marketplace, we can make things way faster. And like you said, 2, 3, or 4x what I was already doing before, just doing it in a new way, right? So if you're an agent, I want you to know, based on what Valerie is saying, is that both is key, right? I'm a still big believer in that. Outside of me being somebody that invests a lot of money into producing leads online and buying leads online, I am that person. I've been that way since I started my agency. But listening to what Valerie says, that both are important, because you still can have your warm market and your referral market, and you can still leverage the actual lead side of things. And even if you learn the skill set of referrals in warm market, you could take the actual leads that you are buying or investing into, close the deals, and then use your skill set of referrals in warm market to turn them into referral producing now leads, where now one lead that you have turns into 5 to 10 clients because you learned how to actually work out a referral. And I've actually seen Valerie do this in real time, where she takes a lot of these clients and turns them into referral-based clients now, where that's ultimately the goal, right? Not for you to buy a lead and then to sell them one policy and then get them protected and then say, all right, off to the, I won't ever talk to you again. It's about building a genuine relationship with them now to actually turn that into multiple policies, where now efficiency comes into play. So I love that response. And I'm a big believer of the same thing. And with that, it brings me to my last point. I know you summarized this a little bit, but could you just share in 60 seconds for the agent that's watching this, that's like kind of on the edge and not sure about the Jack Life Leads community, and or they don't like their upline or whatever situation, they're looking for something. Could you share like 60 seconds? What was that experience for you from the time that you actually got started with us here in our community up until today?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, I'd say it's just a nice little peak, right? I started skeptical, as you mentioned. I asked several questions in the beginning, so I was unsure. But then, I was like, well, I've got to do something different if I want a different result, right? So jumped in to the Jack Life community, and so far I love it. I mean, things have been, I was quiet at first because I'm like, okay, let me feel these people out. And then things were going really good. So for me, and I'm like, okay, let me chime in a little bit more. And, really, once you lean into a community, that's when you get the best results. And that's with any community, not just,
Yeah.
Jack Life. I mean, you have to lean in on the people that are doing it every day with you,
Yes.
embrace that support. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Lean in. And if you are, again, an agent, even if it's not here, Jack Life Leads, even if it's with whatever organization that you're associated with, lean all the way in and just follow the system. A lot of times, the reason why we don't see success as agents is because of ourselves. We're the roadblock for ourselves. We like to do everything the hard way when somebody has given us the system of success. But make no mistake as well. And I actually, Valerie, I was talking to Lewis yesterday in our conversation, and I have to bring this up. He said, Don, I'm wholeheartedly all the way in on the Jack Life Leads community. He said, but I have to tell agents this. He said a lot of times we have uplines who are stuck in the past. And that's just something to be really careful of. And in this conversation is that, some of us have had amazing uplines and mentors who have guided us along the way. And the goal of the upline is to guide us, right? Their goal is not to micromanage and tell us how we're supposed to run our practice, because we are the licensed agents, right? It's your license and this is your business. It's their job to answer any questions that you have and to guide and continue to guide you along your path in whatever decision that you decide to make. Their goal is to empower you in that decision and provide you with feedback, but it's not their goal it's not their job to tell you that you should not do something, especially if they haven't done it themselves and they're not constantly learning themselves. So I think as an agent, you do have to stand on your own 2 feet and not only lean into the system, but also, ask yourself, is my upline and are they in my best interest? I'm making sure that they're pushing me in the right direction. And as long as you have that, lean all the way in. And if you don't have that, I'm always a big believer of finding the right type of mentor upline that fits your value system and the goals that you want to reach. And if they're going to help you get there, go all the way in with that person.
And it's not even just that. Sorry to cut you off. I was going to say, it's not even just that. I look at it as a stepping stone, right? You can, I don't want to say outgrow your upline, but like in education, for example, you move to the next grade, you move up, right? You continue learning. You don't just stop there. So I saw it as, okay, the people that brought me in, that's my first stepping stone. Then I met another mentor, and then that's my next one. You keep growing. So just don't get complacent.
That's it. I love it. I love it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And keep doubling down. And with that being said, I hope y'all found a lot of value here, because I did. And I always ended off with this, is that don't listen to what the person said. Pay attention to the qualities that they talked about, the qualities that they have and the skill sets that they have, right? And if we replay this conversation with Valerie, starting from the very beginning, she told you that she had sales experience already. She told you she comes from a project management background, which means that she clearly had organizational skills and she had the ability to be personable and talk to people on the phone, right? These were three major skill sets and qualities that she's possessed before coming into the life insurance space and jumped into becoming full-time. And if you don't possess those qualities, like I said, figure out a way to be able to learn and sharpen those tools so that when you do move into this space full-time, that you're ready to run. But don't jump head first and then start going into, I'm buying leads and then I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Why isn't it working for me? But as you listen to this conversation, you don't possess the same skill sets that she does, right? Everything's about skill sets. Everything's about qualities, and pay attention to those skill sets, the qualities of people that you aspire to be like, and you'll get to where you're going faster. And then find a mentor like we talked about here in this conversation too, right? Every mentor, like Valerie said, is meant to be a stepping stone to get you to that next place. They're not meant to be, you know, the God of your life. They're telling you how you should and should not do things at all times and telling you no to things that don't matter. Right? Getting to your goal is the ultimate result, to take care of your family and to be able to become very successful here in this business, and also protect a whole lot of people and families and making them, you know, better because of it. So Valerie, thank you. Any last words that you have for all of the agents that will be watching this at all that you can leave them with?
Just go out there, work hard, don't give up on your business, don't give up on your dreams. Really push, and then go follow me. I'm at Val, the CEO. I am the CEO of Taylor Life Insurance Agency, the perfect tailor for your life insurance.
I love it. That tagline is boss. I love it. And I'll put her link below for all of you guys to follow her on Instagram as well. Tap in, very knowledgeable. And she's on a very quick, momentous path to the top. And I'm excited to be able to see this. And hopefully we have the ability to speak again a year from now and be able to just talk about the growth from today up a year. And I'll show you all that there's going to be transformation because she has the qualities and she's a learner, which is really cool. And with that, you're an agent. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And if you're interested in joining the Jack Life Leads community, I'll also have the link below as well. So you could book a call with one of our team members that could talk to you a little more about our program. And with that, peace and blessings to you all. Have an amazing day.
Bye. Thank you.